Hey, what's up, guys? How are y'all? Welcome back to the OS Rick Project. How are you guys? I hope you're doing well. I've been on vacation this week, chilling, relaxing, not doing much. A couple of house projects. Replaced the faucets in the shower and installed a new sink and vanity in the restroom, so that was nice. Me and the wifey, we make a good team. Knock things out. But yeah, we're doing that. A little bit of gaming here and there, not too much. I finally came back into streaming the other day from a 3 week break. Um, but sometimes you feel like doing it, sometimes you don't feel like doing it. I know, guys. I know the podcast has been all over the place. It is what it is. Anyways, guys, how are y'all? Well, again, thank you for hanging out. I really appreciate it. Whether you're at work, on your way to work, or you're working out, thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. What y'all been up to? What games have y'all been playing? What's going on? What y'all been up to? You guys, I really want to talk about hitboxes right now and leverless controllers, but I'm gonna save that for later. We're gonna go. That was gonna be the rant for the end of the near the end of the podcast. Let's do all the small things first, okay? So let's see. Blah blah blah. I'm going through my notes, guys. Okay, let's talk about PC games, guys. What's been coming out? The Last of Us came out on PC. Mixed reviews on Steam. I don't think it's because of the game. It's because of the performance, all the requirements. What I and you guys should look it up too if you guys into that. But the requirements that they needed for this game on the high end, it was like a 4090. I'm like, a 4090 just to get the high end stuff. And then they've been talking about like I know a lot of people who are I was looking at a lot of reviews and people who were talking about the game, how they're talking about spending hours on downloading shaders for the game and then just having also, I mean, look, it happens, right? Some games come out and there's gonna be some bugs and issues, but it's like, excuse me, coffee break. But it's just like Sony, okay, their track record isn't all that stellar when it comes for their making their PC ports. Horizon Zero Dawn wasn't that great. God of War was solid. I heard that was a good one. Days Gone, I don't remember Days Gone. I know it came out. I think it was okay. I think it was in a good spot. And then you have The Last of Us. I think and I think maybe Marvel Spider-Man. I think those are on a good. Those were okay, either good or okay. I know Ragnarok was probably. I mean, God of War was probably the best one, like the less hiccups. But I know Horizon Zero Dawn and then The Last of Us. It's like, man, it's it's. I don't understand why it would be a difficult port that came over. It doesn't seem like it'd be a challenge. Speaking of which, I mean, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to play the game, you could play it on the console. There's a remastered version. It's just if you're playing on PC, you probably have a PlayStation and you probably played the game, or you probably seen the TV show, which doesn't need to exist. But still, I mean, there's ways to watch that. Oh shit, guys, I forgot to change the what you call it. Give me a second. Okay, better. Um, I did see the specs for Jedi or Star Wars Jedi Survivor. All right, guys, look, I did something stupid over vacation break. I made another bought parts to build another computer. I know, it's dumb. I don't know why. I just felt like I had the itch to want to do something, and I figured building a high end AMD rig would be worth it. Although I'll be honest with you guys, there's some. I'm not too crazy about the whole gigabyte software user. The user software for their fan control and for their RGB gigabyte their gigabyte control center. I'm not too crazy about it. Hopefully it'll get better. Hopefully they'll update it and do some better things. But I'm not crazy. Like right so far, like I've been having good experiences with Asus, even though Armory Crate isn't like the best thing ever. Armory Crate is a lot more easier to navigate than it is freaking. I don't know. It just feels a lot better than the Gigabyte software. But anyways, So when I got a new AMD CPU, it came with a free copy of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I just got to redeem it and I'll get it, whatever. Cool. So I guess I'll probably end up playing it on PC. I mean, it's a free game, right? I mean, it came with it, or you know what? Maybe I'll just I'll just give it to somebody. We'll do a raffle, huh, guys? A giveaway for Star Wars Survivor, for Jedi Survivor on PC. We'll see. But looking at the specs, what you need for that, it's a lot easy. I mean, the only thing that looks outrageous for that game is the storage at 155 gigabytes. So they're either telling me it's going to be a very big game, or they just didn't optimize and compress and the shaders and the shaders and then the textures and all that stuff like that. So it'll be running for the minimum Windows 10, 8 gigs of RAM, easy. Honestly, 16, in my opinion, guys, 16 is like, I wouldn't go below 16. That's just me. 8 feels like you're gonna feel the struggle. The CPU features, as long as you have 4 cores, 8 threads, Ryzen 5 1400 or an Intel i7 7700. I never had a, I had a Ryzen 5 on my older, one of my first PCs, and it's okay. But I never, it wasn't a 1400 though. I think it was a, I gotta go look it up, guys. It's been a while. A GPU, a Radeon 5800, 580 or an NVIDIA 1070. So you could play this on relatively low end GPU cards. As long as the GPU has 8 gigs of VRAM, which, 8 gigs right now seems to be okay, but I think that's going to be a concern at least somewhere down the road. Now, if you play it on 1080p, 8 gigs will actually go wow. It's just, if you're playing on the higher end stuff, it's gonna bring it down, because playing in Resident Evil and some other games, it tells you how the VRAM is allocated, and that could fill up real quick. I mean, of course, depending on how much of the graphics you want running, right? And of course, storage 155 gigabytes. Now on the recommended, and that's what they gave you guys. They gave minimum and recommended. None of this crazy 6 tiers and where you should be playing it and stuff. That's ridiculous. Recommended 16 gigs, 4 cores, 8 threads, a Ryzen 5 5600X. That's a solid CPU, guys. Do not sleep on that one. Or an i5 11600K. On the GPU side, 6700 XT. I have a 6650 XT, and I think it's solid little 1080p GPU, or an RTX 2070, and with at least 8 gigs of VRAM. So, I mean, if you just look at what it needs to play the game, it's nothing outlandish. It doesn't say it doesn't say a 4090, which that's I think that's just craziness. Looking at the specs, that looks cool. It looks a lot. I just hope it just comes out the gate a lot better than a lot of some of these other PC games have been. Mr. Shigeru Miyamoto, you guys know him. He's like Mr. Mario himself. Quote, mobile apps will not be the primary path of future Mario games, according to an article on Variety.com. I don't really read Variety, guys. I just go through Reddit and then find articles I'm interested. But be professional journalist. Use that term very loosely. We gotta source. We gotta quote our sources, right? So apparently, just looking at the article, it wasn't that long of an article, but just reading it, looking at it, it looks like they kind of want to shy away from mobile games and just continue on to the main console stuff, which I'm all for. Y'all know me, I hate mobile games. Although they did say in 2016, Super Mario Run made $60 million in its first year. So for a mobile game, I think that's why a lot of these companies are kind of leaning towards having more mobile games, because I'm not a developer, guys, but I'm guessing it's a lot easier to make a mobile game than it is, a console game, and probably just less money. And when you're making that much money in revenue, I mean, of course, you're using all these BS freaking paywalls and transactions and whatever. I mean, but at the end of the day, money is money, and look, no excuse. I don't like it. I don't play them. And then another big one that they had was the 2019 Mario Kart Tour, which I'm looking at the much money they made, and the numbers seem skewed. And I kind of try to look it up, but I couldn't find anything solid. So, but just believe you me, guys, they made a lot of money off of this Super Mario Kart Tour and Super Mario Run. So, apparently, they want to kind of shy away from that, which I'm all for. I don't care. Put Mario in something. Put him in an awesome movie. I don't know how I feel about that movie, guys. I don't know. I was grew up with Mario having Princess Peach as the heroine, the damsel in distress. But apparently now it's Luigi in distress. Okay, that's fine. You gotta change the rules, right? We gotta be positive role models. Amazon Games lays off about 100 employees from their from the Amazon Games. There hasn't been anything good news from them. At least not that I haven't seen any. I know they had New World, they had Lost Ark, they had Crucible, which never launched. I think that was gonna be their battle royale. Um, Whatever happened to Luna? I remember bringing that up way back when, but I haven't heard anything on that anymore. It just. But anyways, so Amazon's been having. They've already had like 9,000 layoffs in March, and then 18,000 layoffs in January. So they've been okay. Some of those layoffs is seasonal help for sure. In January, Christmas time. From where I work, we get a lot of seasonal help too. January, you're gonna have to cut out a lot of people that just didn't make the, just that just. I mean, there's no more work to be had, so you gotta cut them. I understand, but man, it just seems like Amazon Games. And look, I want there to be more developers, to make games. That's awesome, but at the end of the day, though, I don't really feel if you were to ask me and you say, "Hey, Rick, you think Amazon Games is trying to make an awesome game for the because they want to make an awesome game?" No, I think they want to make something just so they can make more money and get their. I think it's just for them. It's just for the money, guys. I don't. I just never had faith when I see Amazon games like, oh man, yeah, I could just feel the Amazon Prime subscription coming in and blending it in and fusing it in with their ecosystem and having to subscribe for this and get that, and then you get on this on sale and buy this. You have a little micro transaction. You could buy a little cosmetic stuff for your characters. I don't want to see my games coming from Amazon. I just haven't been a fan of it. I don't think it's done. Speaking of Amazon, so Ring of Powers, you guys remember that one? The one they spent like I don't know how, what, $1 billion on, like on making this show. So I was looking at it, and they said they had a 37% domestic completion rate. That means 37% of the people here in the U.S. finished that show. I'm gonna tell you guys, I couldn't. I made it to like episode 4, and I was done. I did not care. It was oh my god, it was rough. It was rough. Okay, maybe if you name it generic fantasy show, you could probably watch it, but it trying to gain momentum just because it has Lord of the Rings in the freaking title. No, no, it was terrible, guys. It was boring. I didn't like it. I mean, I was trying to find something interesting. I couldn't. I mean, I was not hyped for it when I first heard about it, and even when they said they started doing like uh, uh, race swapping or adding black dwarves and stuff like that, and black elves and everything. Like, okay, cool, whatever. But even then, watching it, okay, I saw him on there. I don't care. It was just the acting and the story was just so terrible. Like I didn't even care that they changed things and they changed the characters. It was this story was awful. It was boring. I like where are you going with this? This what happened here? I mean, it was not fun. And honestly, guys, there's just too many good TV shows out there that you can't just be. it was terrible, guys. I'm sorry. And like I said, I couldn't even finish it. Look, I couldn't even finish Game of Thrones, and that wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible. It was just it had some good episodes. It had some good episodes, some bad episodes. It was just up and down the whole time. Rings of Power, no thank you. Speaking of TV shows and movies, it is possible that there is going to be a new Street Fighter movie. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can it compare to the classic Street Fighter movie starring Raul Julia back in the day? Well, I don't know, guys. I don't know. That movie is like it's so bad. It's one of those movies that's so bad it's good. It's like look, it came out when I was a kid. Street Fighter was at its Street Fighter was a freaking rage. I have no issues. I saw it, whatever. Yeah, yeah. I remember seeing the movie. And I was like, man, this is oof. But you know what? They're remaking it now. My issue is, are they gonna go with the whole? I can't wait till they make the race swap Ryu. We're gonna see Ryu Johnson. I can't wait, dude. That's gonna happen. They're gonna have some, they're gonna make some diversity. They're gonna have some of them gonna be gender fluid. No, they can't do that, right? Okay, they can't do that with the cast. The OG fighters, Honda and Blanca and Ken, Ryu, Chun, Gief, Sim, they're gonna be fine. It's gonna be the newer characters they're gonna change. Oh my god, I'm thinking of the Mortal Kombat movie from 2020, 2019. Oh, okay, but again, I'm not a Mortal Kombat fan, so, so that one I was merciless on how I thought about that one. Street Fighter will say, look, I'm not excited for it. I don't know why people feel like video games have to be introduced in the medium of film or TV shows. I mean, a video game can exist as a video game. It's fine. I mean, I know. I'm like I'm the old man that's still yelling at clouds, but this time it just feels like you don't need to do that with every TV show. But look at Last of Us; it was such a good. Like I know, Last of Us is a good. And in my opinion, you didn't need a TV adaptation. What you got in the game was fine. The TV show was okay. I still haven't finished it. I got to episode 4, and then I was like, all right, I am out. Cool. You know, um, they do what they want to do, and they want to sell to the current audience. That's cool. Again, with Street Fighter, if they make it different at this point, whatever. I don't care. It's fine. What else? Oh my God, going back to let's go back to video games, guys. So looking at the Steam hardware for March, it looks like the Nvidia RTX 3060 is 10% of the market share. 3060s are up there. Those are like the most popular cards to get according to Steam. Okay, and the people who took their survey and stuff like that. The 3060 having 12 gigs of VRAM, it's probably in a really good spot. The 3060, you can't go wrong with that one. It's I have no experience with the card, but just looking at it, the experiences and what it compares to on the AMD side, I think it's close to equivalent to like an AMD 6700 XT. Um, the 3060, I think that's been the go-to card for the longest. It was the 1660 XT. Excuse me, coffee's empty, guys. I'm getting a drink. So yeah, the 3060s are now taking over. I'm guessing maybe they all got freed up from all the crypto mining, and now they're out there in the wild for people to enjoy. Um, and I don't know if you guys been following Nvidia, but they got some stuff coming out, and the way they've been pricing their stuff is I don't know, it's kind of questionable. Of course, everything is a lot more expensive than it was 2 years ago. I mean, just look at the price of eggs, right? How many times have you guys gone to the groceries and just noticed the price on everything has gone up? And of course, that's going to affect electronics too, especially when they use um, semiconductors and just all the silicon that they need, and just the overhead of transporting stuff. It's going to be expensive. So yeah, when you're looking at the 40 series, it's the price I feel is just it's just way out there. I mean, not just them. Even with AMD, AMD has been raising the prices on some of their stuff, and then slowly been releasing it, lowering their prices as time goes on. I mean, you saw it with their 7900 XT and XTX. I mean, those things came out at $900 and $1,000, and little by little they've been dropping off $100 every couple of months. So they're in a better place, but even then, AMD is still guilty of just. I think they see Nvidia getting away with having these high prices, and they try to copycat. So I mean, it's just been expensive, and honestly, the 30 series cards, I think they're in they're in a good spot. They're really solid. Even Nvidia said the 30 series is good for gaming. So it's like, why would you say that when you're trying to sell the 40 series? Um, so yeah, guys, 3060, they've been taken off. That's probably the go-to card if you could find them at a good price. I don't know what the MSRP has been on those bad boys. E3 canceled for good this time. I think so, guys. I think we are finally done. It started with what was it, back in 2018? 2018, 2019, maybe, when Sony announced that they are pulling out from E3, and ever since then people were like, they're pulling out of E3, what what's that? Okay, I guess we'll do the more Sony State of Plays and PlayStation experiences. And ever since then we had COVID, and then it tried to coming back one. It did come back one. No, did it come back 1 year, guys? After the COVID, I know it was completely shut down during 2020. Did it make a resurgence in 2021 or 2022? Let me know, guys, what y'all think. If it did come back. But yeah, I think E3 is finally out. The writing is on the wall, guys. We've seen it before. We seen it with, not only with the big three, on the consoles, with PlayStation, Microsoft, and Nintendo, because they do their own, mini direct state of plays showcases. But we're also seeing it from the developer side, from the publisher side. Ubisoft, they have their own. Square has their own. I mean, they all are starting to realize that, hey, we can make our own, presentations at any given schedule. And like I said, I have been a big proponent of these big summertime events of E3s and Summer Game Fest and stuff, because I like the idea of just having everything come out at once and just having a whole bunch of information and have something to look forward to for the summer season. But it's the way of the future. Things are changing, and I'm not saying I'm against having little shows sprinkled across the year. I'm fine with that too. I really am. It was just something that you could circle a date, circle a week on your calendar, and look forward to, and just know that you're gonna have a whole week of tons of news to talk about and digest, and able to just, get with your buddies and talk about. Now you have the smaller shows that are spread out, and the only thing that, in my opinion, that I'm not a fan of is because of the fact that it's not like the big time shows where you can talk to your friends about it, because not all of my friends are into video games, and sometimes like, hey, did you see the new state of play or whatever? Like, nah, I missed it. What was about it? It just sucks because not everybody's on the same page. It was something about the having the big time summer events where anybody that was into the video game got a lot of news out of it and kind of look forward to it, and was able to talk about it. So these little smaller ones, it's just not as hype. But I'm still glad they're around and appreciate it. But you know that being the way of delivering news is, I mean, the writing's on the wall, guys. I said it already. It's done. It's a lot more. I'm sure it's a lot more easier to do, and because they could do it from their own studios, from their own headquarters, and just launch it and whatever, and have their information as long or as little as they want, and give you as much as information as they want. So it is what it is. E3 cancellation. We saw it coming, guys. But we did see Jeff Keighley. He did tweet out that Summer Game Fest will be happening on Thursday, June 8th. So, I mean, we lost E3. So we have Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, which is fine. It's maybe it's the spiritual successor of what E3 is. Maybe it's more. I mean, what Jeff Keighley does for the video game stuff, for the video game business community. Can you say community business? I mean, it's not. I certainly appreciate it, for sure. The Game Awards, even though as much as I like to shove on top of that about it being just kind of, having a certain type of crowd and demographic, and putting certain games in the fighting genre, Saifu, I'm looking at you. Even though they do some weird stuff, I'm still glad they're there because the announcements are fun and something to look forward to. Even though I don't care much for the awards. Same with Summer Game Fest. I'm just happy that we get a couple of days of just video game news and announcements and releases, even though they will get pushed back. I'm glad it's there. So no E3, but we do have Summer Game Fest. Not bad. Okay. Anyways, let's get into esports on the decline, guys. And I didn't want to go too much into this because I really don't care much for esports. I think they're just kind of I think they're kind of a gimmick, to tell you the truth. Like, first of all, esports. Like, I don't know. I hold sports, like, I'm not a big sports guy, but I hold it in such high regard. Like, when I remember seeing I remember once they were talking about Justin Wong, and they're like, this athlete does, like, no, first of all, he's not an athlete. Okay. If you take one look at him, if you put him right next to JJ Watt and you tell me pick out the athlete, it's not going to be Justin Wong. Okay. And I'm not trying to throw shade at the guy, but I mean, when you say esports and athletes and whatever, like, no, dude, there's no sports about it. Just call them games. Okay. Esports. But anyways, guys, esports seem to be on the decline. Just looking around different articles, they've been saying that some of them were tied in a lot, invested heavily on the whole crypto stuff, and since that's been a bust, they've been losing money. They've been hemorrhaging money. Some articles have been saying, and some have been closing. I mean, and we kind of seen this before, especially me being big into Street Fighter in the fighting game scene community. Well, big following it big time. A lot of professional players, which, by the way, guys, is like maybe like 1%. I mean, you got to be top, like, 1%er just to be making money off esports loosely. And even then, a lot of them have side gigs and stuff. I mean, like, have main incomes, and the esports just a side gig. But anyways, where's I going with it? Oh, yeah. I remember just seeing that. Oh my god, I lost my train of thought. Esports losing money. Oh, yeah, but just from following Street Fighter from way back when, right? From Street Fighter 4, and seeing all these teams that came up, like Evil Geniuses, EG. They've been, like, not as, you don't see them around as much. The one Rick Fox bot, what were they called? Team Fox, what you call it? They had a whole bunch of big names on there. They lasted maybe like 6 months, a year, and then they just fell apart. I feel like, trying to find money in esports is very. I don't think it's very lucrative, guys. I'm not a businessman, guys. I don't at all. Okay. But it's like, you got to make your money off of what sponsors, and then I don't. And I've heard horror stories of how some people just get screwed when because at the end of the day, you're basically just wearing a jersey with a esports team on there. And then I've heard some people had, depending on how it costs, like, some of them pay for the cost, some of them pay for this, and then part of your winnings have to go back. Like, I don't know, maybe that's part of the issue, guys, right? Maybe because the contracts ain't public, that we can't get a clear picture of how things operate. And I don't know how that runs in actual, like, physical big time sports like baseball, basketball, football. Are some of the contracts public? I don't know, guys. I do not know that information. So let me know if you're interested, or know anything about that. But esports have been on decline. It's not surprising. I just don't. If there's gonna be money in anything, it's probably gonna be the big ones that have the major production, right? Your League of Legends, your Dotas, your CS:GO. I mean, those are like the big ones I could think of. I think even I was reading around. I was just kind of skimming through information. And guys, remember, take this whole podcast with a grain of salt, okay, guys? Because I could be wrong at any given point. Like, even like Activision Blizzard's, like, they weren't making all that much money. I mean, they make some, but I don't think it's like the biggest with their Overwatch stuff. Speaking of Overwatch, do you guys see the new character from Thailand, the pansexual? Like, they're hitting every diversity box. Like, I was watching one of the YouTube guys I watch, one of the YouTube personalities. I think it's called Edmoney TV or whatever, and he just breaks down all the wokeism in video games. And dude, I did not know that Activision Blizzard uses a diversity scale to make up their characters, and it's insane. It's like, okay, if this character is a male, straight and white, it gets negative points. They don't make that. They don't make that character, but it has to be of of one of the alphabets. It has to be of color. It has to be from, has to have, some sort of sexuality, some sort of different, I don't know. I mean, it has to be off the wall, whatever, with pronouns of Xi Jim. And that's what sells. Like, oh my God, they actually have a graph to show you how, like this is Activision Blizzard. Like, this company that, oh yeah, we're all about the games and treating our people right, and doing what's good for the fans, and then you're treating your employees like crap. Okay, good job, guys. Good job. I know, guys. I know. Get on my freaking soapbox. I'm not trying to be holier than thou, right? But look, you and I like the conversation when people say, well, you have to separate the art from the artist, right? To a certain extent, yeah. Look. I still like Billie Jean from Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson probably wasn't the most stellar guy, right? So it's just like, I mean, I get it, but at the end of the day, though, like, these companies, they're just trying to sell you something. They're a business. They want to put stuff in front of you and put the money in their bank. As for business, guys, I'm gonna save the big stuff, the big topic I've been wanting to talk about. I don't know how long we'll talk about it but the one I've been saving for the end of the show. Hitbox and Capcom and SOCD, simultaneous opposing cardinal directions. So basically, Capcom put an announcement, a tweet, saying that for the 2023 year, they're going to look at how SOCD, simultaneous opposing cardinal direction, works up and down. If you hit up and down at the same time, it'll be neutral. If you're using a hitbox or some other leverless controller, it would be up and down will equal up. So you could like shortcut when you're doing like flash kick with guile, or holding back and forward will equal forward. So you could do, you could hold a button, and then your charged moves come out a lot faster, right? Especially if you're playing boxer or Balrog or any charge character. And there was a lot of shortcuts that people could do. I mean, you could do quarter circle forward twice, like with 4 movements. I mean, and it comes out. I mean, it's coming. Yeah, you're getting like 4 frame super fireballs coming out. And that gives you a super advantage. And the conversation has been circled around that. I mean, and a lot of people have been talking and discussing it. Is our leverless cheating? Now, I don't want to say it's cheating outright, where it's where it's clearly a violation of the rules, because the rules were never set, but it definitely gives you an advantage. Now, mind you, guys, you do have to become proficient with the tool to use it to its max, but I honestly, from the people that I've talked to, I've had several friends who have leverless, and they have not gone back. They have not gone back. I mean, not only there's a price tag to invest to get one of these controllers. I mean, some of the Hitbox one, they go up to 200, and they're right on the price. Some of these go up to $250. The Empress from Paradise Arcade is $300. And then the one from Junk Food Arcade, their Snack Box Micro, is $265. Okay, so these controllers are expensive, okay? So yeah, so if you're gonna invest as much on a controller, you better be willing to use it. I mean, don't get me wrong, I got one too. It's up here, okay? I tried learning with it, playing with it. It's kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie, guys, but and that's my fault. I never stuck with it. But honestly, guys, I kind of just treat it like a piece of art. Just kind of leave it up there. Anyways, it gives you an advantage. It really does. I mean, there's just no way to get around it. You have an advantage over traditional arcade stick players. Now the conversation becomes, and I mentioned this a long time ago, is how do we get around this? This is a very slippery slope, and honestly, in my opinion, it has reached escape velocity. That's it. It's gone. I mean, you've seen a lot of the Japanese players are trying to adopt the method of using leverless. You see it with Daigo and Takedo. Of course, they don't represent everybody from the Japanese side, but when you start seeing the big names playing all that, it's gonna cause a shift, a zeitgeist into thinking that. I mean, and it has, You're starting to see a lot of American players, NA players, transition into going leverless, and people talking about it, and the conversation has been is there, is happening. But so Capcom released a statement saying they're gonna make some changes to what it is. So up down is gonna equal neutral. So here comes Hitbox. Their response is, well, guys, with those changes, you can now do this. You can hit these two buttons, which will equal. I mean, and I'm telling you guys, you can start like wave dashing with these characters because of the new changes. And it's almost like, Capcom said something, and then Hitbox, like if Hitbox should, it's like that little meme with the little puppet where you can like turns to the side, like, guys, y'all should shut up right now. What I think should have happened was like, Hitbox, shut up. Whoever's doing your PR, stop talking. Let the players actually come up with something on their own, like new ideas. That way it'll look organic, and it wouldn't be like something that you're just feeding them and finding another loophole to get around things, because that's what they're doing. They're just finding loopholes. And look, they're a business. Let me just write the statement, right? Let me try it. So the Hitbox, their response tweet was, while Capcom and Street Fighter are an important part of the FGC, they do not represent the community as a whole. The larger tourney community and its leadership have already ruled many times over that the current SOCD resolutions in our controllers are appropriate for tournament play. We stand firmly and believe in this standard, a standard that was set more than a decade ago and that is still implemented to this day. Up plus down equals up. Okay. First of all, guys. No, Street Fighter is not all for fighting games. It's up there. It's one of the big. It's, in my opinion, one of the big three: Mortal Kombat, Tekken, and Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken. It's one of the big three, right? It's not everything. The larger tournament community and its leaderships. Like, who are the leaders? Who goes in? I sound like an owl, right? Who says you are the leaders of the FGC, of the community? Like, who voted these people in? Who are they? Honestly, I think they're just controllers and a stand. When we stand firmly by and believe in a standard that was set more than a decade ago. Like, who set the, like, I know, guys, I'm saying who a lot, but it's just like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I get it. Y'all want to sound like y'all are like a pillar of the community and whatever, but like, you guys are here to sell controllers, okay? You're here to sell controllers, and y'all know that if they make any changes where they ban y'all stuff, you guys are out of business, okay? We get it. Don't act like you're our friends. Don't act like you care. Like, you're just trying to sell stuff, okay? I just find it really weird. Like, who do you think, guys? Come on. At the end of the day, it's almost like they're like a cigarette company. Like, no, it's fine. It's fine. You just, I don't know. Maybe you got cancer from the asbestos in the building. I don't know. You didn't get it from our cigarettes. I mean, come on. It's like, come on, guys. You know, at the end of the day, you're skating on some gray territory. Like I said, I'm not gonna say you're cheating, because the rules were never, the rules that were set weren't looking forward to what they are now. It's a whole different animal. And I think they just been skating by and getting away. And honestly, with as popular as it is, if let's just say someone is having a Street Fighter 6 tournament, and the TO, the tournament organizer, says leverless controllers are banned. Good luck, because I'm sure the people were like, "Oh, come, I just won't go. I'll go to the next tournament that does allow leverless to enter the tournament to be played." It's just, uh, they know what they're doing, guys. So yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Because this stuff is expensive. I think it's reached escape velocity. And look, guys, don't feel like Hitbox is the underdog here, okay? Because they have gone over to other um, leverless controller manufacturers, companies, and tried to sue them, and has sent cease and desist letters because they are copying their layout, because that is they've patented the layout of what they have. Which, first of all, I think that's just BS. I really just feel like these guys are just a company and they're trying to do whatever they can just to be the only one that are having these kind of controllers. Because I think they went after Junk Food Arcade, and even then, Junk Food Arcade isn't squeaky clean. Again, guys, take a big grain of salt. Just looking around through the internet, even Junk Food Arcade has gone around um, going after some DIYers, do-it-yourselfers, and going after the layout of their boxes, of their controllers, and trying to send cease and desist letters to those people. So, I mean, everybody is trying to just go after everybody. Nobody's squeaky clean. At the end of the day, it's a business, and they're trying to sell you something. And the thing is, okay, let's just say we already used one example about banning leverless. So if you're gonna ban leverless, are you gonna ban pad players? Because I know pad players sometimes on the dual sense, if you hold like a claw, you could have access to the D-pad and the analog stick also. So you also get access to that. And on PlayStation, I've seen it. I don't know how you can circumvent it with some tournament laws, but yeah, I know even on PlayStation, you can go into the accessibility mode and you could change the shoulder buttons L1, L2, R1, R2 to directions if you want. So I mean, if you think about it, those are other shortcuts and ways to get around from taking to your advantage. So what do? You're gonna start banning pad players also, because you're now going to start severely thinning out a lot of your player base. Because I mean, for example, Mena RD, I know he plays on. I know he played on. I mean, he might have shifted to leverless, but I know there's a lot of people, even on on the Street Fighter side, the top end players that play on pad. So I mean, oh, did you guys see the cup Mena RD got from Capcom Cup? Terrible. Look it up, guys. But yeah, so what are you gonna do? Start banning pad players also, and then and look, guys, it's gonna sound kind of biased. I play on arcade sticks. I do. I have tried playing on pad on some games, but at the end of the day, I always shift to arcade stick. And I know I sound just like an old man yelling at the sky, yelling at clouds about it needs to be a pure and only play on a arcade stick, but can you justify playing an arcade stick? Can you? Because what arcades are around? It's like you want people like, let's just say hypothetically, if they say you can only play an arcade stick, like why? No, there's no arcades. I mean, imagine having people to play with a certain controller that isn't found out, that isn't out, that doesn't support it, like outside of having to purchase it, and like there's no arcade machines, at least not in the sense of fighting games. It's again, guys, this is something. This is a conversation that I think as players should be having. But as for the higher ups, I think that's it's going to be difficult for them to sort it all out, because it's like, again, I think it's the slippery slope. We're on it, and it has escaped, and it's done. And anyways, going back to the whole hitbox statement, like Capcom Cup was like in 2014, like the first one, I believe. Looking up, just going through the internet, looking it up. It's like, what do you guys? What standards? There was no like. It was so like they were like doing stuff out of the garage back in the day, dude. Like, come on, man. Anyways, guys, I think that's it for the most part. That's the one I really wanted to talk about, was the SOCD, the hitbox. What do you guys think about it? What's your opinion? What are some suggestions? How do y'all feel? What do y'all play on? Does it matter? Again, there is some clear advantages from playing leverless. Of course, you got to be very proficient and you got to earn it. But there's when you're seeing four inputs and you're getting a super, you're just getting a lot of shortcuts. I mean, it's there, guys. Anyways, guys, I've been on vacation this week. I'm gonna go back on vacation, although it's Friday. It's okay. It's okay. In 2 months, I go on vacation again. Street Fighter will be coming out the week before I go on vacation, so I'll be enjoying that. We'll have Summer Game Fest, so we're gonna have a lot of stuff going on. And even between then, guys, 2 months, I'm gonna keep doing the podcast. I'm gonna go back into my routine and getting back on schedule. It's like I said, I've been on vacation. I've been just taking my time off, getting things sorted. Guys, play Resident Evil 4. It's such a fun game. It is a really fun game, guys. I mean, I streamed it the other day. People were hanging out. We were talking about it. People who play the OG version were complimenting how awesome it looks and chiming in on how rewarding the melee hits are. Like the way Leon manipulates the firearm, I've been having such a good time. Now, I will give it some nitpicks. You guys know that when it comes to firearm stuff, like when how they try to gamify some things, you have to like, upgrade the reload capacity, or upgrade the rate of fire. Like you really can't upgrade that with tools. That's like training. But I get it. You got to gamify it. So I'll give it. I'm gonna be fair. I did it with Last of Us. I'm gonna do it with this game. So that's that. But for the most part, you know, it's still a fun game. Um, and then there's some parts where you have to escort Ashley. And you guys know I am not big on whole escort missions, but it's not like you have to escort her the whole way. I'm like in the second half of the game, and now I have to play escort her around. And but you get some strategies. You could make her wait, hang back, or be right up on you, or you could have her stay hide in a locker or something. So there's some things. But again, guys, I don't want to sound like I'm biased. There is some escorting stuff, and it does get annoying sometimes when you're trying to get through a group of ads and they're all just grabbing her and taking her away. You got to stop. But it does add to the excitement of the game, and it does add some elements to the games when you have to protect her while she's doing a certain task and stuff. And there is the tropes of you got to use her to uh, to boost up over a wall to unlock something and stuff. I mean, it does add some of that. Like I said, it's not a perfect game. It does have, I was gonna say it does do some of the escort stuff that Last of Us had, but technically Resident Evil 2 was out before then. But I mean, when you try to gamify some escort stuff, you know how it is. It's gonna be there. How they're gonna be, how they implement it. That's gonna be the $1 million question. And it's not like it's the worst thing in the world. It's fine. And again, I just want to be fair. I want to be even. Last of Us had it. This one has it. But at the end of the day, though, it's still a fun game. It's really good. I like the knife attacks. I like blasting them in the kneecaps and then running them down and meleeing them. Anyways, guys, based on Resident Evil 5. Resident Evil 5. Guys, I know I'm done. I'm rambling. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a good weekend. I will see y'all next time. Bye, guys.